What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back. I know normally I don't do match reactions the day of a match. Normally I like to, get a day, sleep on it, especially when it's a loss. You guys know I don't like to get all up in my feelings when we talk about the match. But today, totally fine. Plus, I got a lot going on tomorrow. It is anniversary tomorrow, so I wanted to keep that day clear. So we're just going to do that. So we'll get this. I'll get to chill tomorrow, and I'll check in with you guys over the international break with some scouting reports. But we are back today to react to the match, give your thoughts, give my thoughts, basically discuss as United secure all 3 points at home to newly promoted Sunderland as we head into this international break. You could say it was a game we were expected to win, but I mean, watching us this season, I mean, was it really? I mean, it's understandable if, like a lot of United fans, you weren't entirely confident in getting the points. But hey, we did, and we're going to celebrate it. I did think, we controlled the game pretty well. Amorim made a couple changes to that starting 11. It did look like he had made us a little bit more disciplined in midfield, or at least the players did. So there were some changes. There were some positives. There were some negatives. So we're going to talk about that today. And I thought a couple of players had really important matches today, really important performances. So we're going to chat about that as well. Talk about the performance, talk about the result, what this means moving forward. Get in your man of the match votes as we go along. Members, you do have a man of the match emoji, so feel free to use that when you want. So getting thoughts, we'll go through some of that later on. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check those memberships as well. And don't forget, Starting 11 and Legends members do now have access to the United vs. Everybody WhatsApp group. Rob Tapp's been in there for the last 24 hours or so. He and I have been chatting about the game, chatting about United, sharing some links and stuff. So if you want to get involved in that, Starting 11 Legends members, check the link in the community tab, jump on in and get involved in the discussion. It's a fun time so far. And go check out the United vs. Everybody store too. You guys scroll a little bit below your screen, and you will see a lot of samples of the products. Go check those out as well. And don't forget to, not everybody's voted. Go over to the link. Now, there's a link pinned to the chat. Follow that link. Go vote for the manager that, let's say, worst comes to worst, Amorim is sacked. Who would you want to take over? We did that rundown, Dylan and I, a couple days ago. Go check out the list. Click that link. Go give a vote. I think Glasner is winning right now by a bit of a landslide. So if you have any thoughts, if you want to put a different option out there, go check the votes out and go leave one. And then we'll check in with that next week and see what the votes are. So let's get stuck in. You guys know, first and foremost, I always have to get involved with the chat and see what the chat's up to. So let's do that first. Box is still buzzing. Good to see you, Box. Amorim's at the wheel. I like this one better. Has anyone seen Liverpool? Nope, we haven't. Nobody's seen Liverpool. Oh, and the media you won't hear about it at all. No one's gonna talk. No one's gonna be talking about Wirtz. No one's gonna be talking about Virgil van Dijk. No one's gonna be talking about Mo Salah, because that's it. No one wants to talk about the fact that Shesko now has the same number of goals in the league as Mo Salah, but hey, no problem. Rob Taft, big up, man. Yes, please do hit that like button. Please subscribe, everybody. Bexy says Le Mans was stunning. Yeah, he was an absolute beast. Not totally without a little bit of nerves, but I think he's just fine. The best way to get rid of the nerves is just do a couple of the simple things well and just keep building on that. So big up. Bexy says mixed opinions. Second half was pretty stale, but a great, yeah, it's excellent. I love a clean sheets, and Bexy's happy that Liverpool lost. We're all happy that Liverpool lost. Anytime we win, keep a clean sheet, and Liverpool lose. Don't forget too, this is 3 losses on the trot now for Liverpool as well. So they are letting it slip away from them so already this season. But hey, no one wants to talk about that. We will though. We'll do some hate watching. Ahead of this one, Ruben Amorim in his pre-match presser. No, again, if you guys are familiar with the pre-match pressers, there's a first section, then there's an embargoed section that comes out later on in the day. So he did not hold back in that embargoed section when it comes to just journalists, basically. And I'm here for it. I have no problem with him having to go with journalists. And he didn't do it in the same sense of like a Jurgen Klopp or a Louis van Gaal or a Mourinho or a Ferguson. He basically just told them, like, yeah, your players hear what you guys are saying about the system, like, and it's like they hear it. He also kind of pointed out that there was some story that came out about his wife saying something last week. Apparently he said that was nonsense. So again, I feel for him with these journalists, with these never-ending interviews, these constant press conferences. I get it. The guy has to go through so much media nonsense at United. I know he doesn't like it. I would hate it. But honestly, just if you're worried about media, like, spouting nonsense or something, just do what other United managers have done and just ban journalists from the pressers. Like, if you've got a problem with them, ban them. Wheeler, Samuel Butthurst, Ogden, Ducker, Dawson, ban them. Like, it's not that difficult. And then we can point them out and say, these are the guys that are talking nonsense. Like, just is what it is, especially if they got his wife involved. No, F that, bro. You're done. No, I don't want to see you anywhere near Old Trafford ever again. If I find out you have a ticket, I'm ripping it up. But they're electronic now, so it doesn't really matter. But it is what it is. Rob Taff says, I thought the Sunderland manager made the changes when needed. Yeah, and I mean, it's a pretty straightforward thing. You can see that, as the game went on, they were pushing Xhaka a little far forward and stuff. They were getting a little bit more danger areas in terms of wide positions. I thought we were letting the game kind of stretch a little bit. I didn't think we were doing very well at marking the back post. We got really lucky. Lamens kind of saved us a little bit as well. JSN, welcome back, says, what an incredible performance from Lamens, especially on his debut. Very commanding and composed. I told you guys, when did we first started scouting Senna Lamens? Way back in, what was that, like March or April or something? We were scouting that guy a long, long time ago. So happy that we got him. So happy that he finally got his debut. So speaking of team selection, obviously, the big change was Senna Lamens getting his debut over Bindier, and I think that right now maybe that spot is his to lose. Cunha dropped for Mason Mount in that 10, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. I think the press were making a lot of big deal out of Cunha getting dropped to the bench. There was even a point where there was a graphic on the screen of like, he's got this many goals, this many assists in all these matches, and he cost this much. And they put the cost, the transfer fee in dollars, by the way, which they only ever do with United. But there's nothing wrong with rotation. I said going into some of these matches, especially Brentford, it's not about dropping players because they're not in good form, or they're injured or they want rest. It's about keeping the whole squad match fit and ready to go. And that's going to be important right now, especially with a lot of time in between matches. We want everyone to stay match fit. So I don't have a problem with that. You notice the press doesn't want to put any graphics out for Florian Wirtz, by the way. But hey, cool. It is what it is. He costs about twice as much as Matthias Cunha. But hey, what are you going to do? Bruno Casemiro in the pivot, obviously. Really the only unused subs were Heaven, Leon, Xerxes. A lot of other guys came on. Ugarte came on. Mainu as well. McGuire even got a sniff as well. I know in the head when I posted the starting 11, Danny B commented that the left side didn't look great. So we'll talk about Dalot specifically because I've got thoughts on Dalot. But to his credit, Shaw was very good, and so was Mason Mount. Do you think that the team selection tonight and then the subsequent performances, do you think that Amorim maybe learned a little something from that maybe he's got some hard choices to make, maybe he's got some easy choices to make? You guys let me know what you thought of the starting 11, what you thought of the performances in there, and what you thought maybe Amorim might keep till next time. Big up Tim 1999. I really hope that's a reference to the treble. If not, then that's fine too. It could be a reference to a Prince song. Who knows? But I hope it's a reference to the treble. But big up Tim. Says happy for Shesko. Hope he goes on a run now. I really do hope he goes on a run. Two consecutive matches. Tied with Mo Salah already now for goals in the league. Doing really, really well. Bexy says Wirtz looks lost. Yeah, he looks just like hot garbage, man. He had a really good pass in the box that set up a chance, but I think it was ultimately offside or something. But what you gonna do? I guess just spend well over 100 million on a player for him to be absolute dog shit. Cool. Stats wise, possession was pretty much 50-50 throughout this match. It fluctuated between like 51% and 49%. So we'll call it 50-50. We did outperform our overall XG on the night, but we just underperformed when it came to our XG from on-target shots. So again, getting some shots away, not putting them away. 15 shots total, 6 on target. We have to do better with that. Sunderland managed 8 shots with just 3 on target. Their XG was below 1. It was like 0.7 something. So we've got to do better with the chances that we're getting. We've got to do better with these decisions. That final ball has just not been good. Defensively, we did have more tackles, more interceptions. But again, like we said in the preview, Sunderland fight hard in midfield. They win a lot of that ball back in midfield. And again, our duels were not good at all. Our 1v1s. We've got to learn to put a little bit more grit, a little bit more physicality in those up close and personal 1v1 situations, because we're losing that battle, and we've been losing that battle for a while. Now, a lot of it does have to do with personnel and a double pivot physicality, speed, and it's just not there. But I think that the best way to get around that is to just make us a little more compact, a little deeper, and just kind of soak up the pressure a little bit more. We're making ourselves a little too easy to play through. So what we got here in the chat, you guys know I like to get in there. Rob says, I loved how Shesko was in there battling for Lamon's long balls. It's how it's meant. Yeah, he wins. He's going to win a lot of those flick-ons. If we just keep the runners around him, we'll be doing pretty well. Jason says, I still feel a need bolster our defense. It isn't the best yet. We need strong, composed, and commanding defenders who can protect the back line, protect Lamons as well. To their credit, I do think the defenders did really, really well tonight. Obviously, you guys know I think we can upgrade on Shaw, which we might when Leacha gets back. People forget we still have Leacha. Heaven, I would like to see Heaven get some minutes too. Heaven is actually very good as well. But to give Shaw his flowers tonight, he was very, very good tonight, I thought. And so who knows what's going to happen in the future, but Shaw had a good match tonight, so I got to make sure we give him some credit there. The Bassies, what up, man? Good to see you again. Clean sheet a day keeps Onana away. Oh, I hope it keeps Onana away, man, for real. So we're going to talk individual performances. I already kind of went through the overall stats here. I'm going to save Lamons, Mount, and Shesko for later. I've got thoughts on that specifically. So we'll get to those guys. So if you wonder why I'm skipping over, that's why. But again, I thought our defense looked solid. Shaw and Yoro, I thought in particular, were standouts. They made several vital blocks. Shaw kind of showing in some of these moments where he made those tackles and stuff, just a little bit of that experience, just knowing where the danger is coming from. We don't see that from him very on a consistent basis, which is what's really frustrating, because I get frustrated when I know players are capable of something because they've done it several times and then they don't. And Shaw is very up and down. And so I don't know what the deal is tonight. It was just maybe this is his level. I don't know. But again, I thought he did well. DeLitt, very calm, very disciplined. 2 out of 2 tackles for him, 5 out of 7 duels. I thought he was quietly just having a really good commanding game tonight. Yoro was an absolute force of nature. He was throwing himself into everything, making these last-ditch blocks and clearances and to toe poke tackles. He's literally on his ass, and after already making 1 tackle, and he still manages to clear the ball. The kid is an absolute workhorse, man. He is a straight up horse, dude. I do think his passing needs work. He gave away a lot of needless passes today, trying to build out from the back. I do think overall we struggled to build out from the back, but I'm not going to nitpick. Clean sheet. I can't go in too hard on the defenders when we keep a clean sheet, especially at home. And so it is what it is. Casemiro and Bruno. I thought Casemiro and Bruno in the pivot did just fine. They weren't great. I'm not gonna say they were great. Casemiro obviously getting that needless yellow. I don't mind the yellow when it's within the last 10 minutes. It is what it is. It kind of just took the sting out of the game a little bit. But he completed his only dribble attempt in the night. He played 6 balls into the final third, made 7 recoveries, and won 5 out of 7 duels, Casemiro. And so I think he quietly had a very good game. And I think what he did is he had a very experienced game. He didn't run unnecessarily when he didn't have to. He kept things simple and things. He never looked like the game was kind of getting away from him. And so I'm very happy to see that from Casemiro tonight. Bruno, I thought, looked better than we've seen him play in that pivot role. I didn't think, again, not great, better. I thought he was a little more calm, a little more composed. You could see many times when we had the ball, Casemiro or DeLitt would have the ball kind of in our own third. He would just kind of calm everyone down a little bit, which is just fine. He created 3 chances, 7 passes into the final third, and he had a couple interceptions as well. Again, not great, but better than I think what we've seen from him. And then he moved into that for right side of 10 a little later on when Mbeumo came off. So not gonna nitpick. Bexy says Yoro is class. Dude, Yoro is an absolute gem. He is a gem. Bexy says Lamons is great with both feet. Catching the ball was great to see. Yeah, well, how often have we seen that? Ever. Onana cannot catch the ball. I wonder if he needs to wear glasses, Onana, because he's missed that so many times. Bexy says, if you slap Wharton in midfield today, how much difference do you think you'd see? I think you'd probably just see a little bit less open, I think, because he's not going to go running around too much. Now, then, I say that, but if you go look at Wharton's heat map, it's actually a big red blob, both just inside his own half and just inside the opposition half. And then if you compare that to what Bruno's heat map is, I think Bruno can do that job. Again, it is Wharton's natural position. It is not Bruno's natural position. So I think that's going to be the biggest difference, is that you've got a player playing in their natural position. It's like what you saw from Ahmad tonight. You can tell at times when we're getting, when we're facing a counterattack or something, that Ahmad's not a defender because he struggles to track back and kind of win those balls. And he got caught out a couple of times tonight. Again, he's not a right back. He's not a right wing back. He is a right winger. And so you see sometimes the system is exposing that, but it's not because the system is bad. It's just because it's completely different to the players that we have in many ways as well. So big up, Kai. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you are doing well. We are just doing that. Bexy says Casemiro can pass. Casemiro is very good on the ball. I think people underestimate that. He's very, very good on the ball. And I love when he's on the pitch when we win free kicks, especially direct free kicks into the box, because he always seems to pop up on those and get a goal. Obviously, he's not the quickest. He's never been the quickest, to be fair. And when you go from Madrid side where you got Toni Kroos and Luka Modric alongside you, there's a lot less to worry about. So it was a bit of a learning curve, I think, coming here. But I wish we had just gotten him 6 years earlier, and I think it would have been perfect. But it is what it is. Where I continue with Ahmad, so he actually had a very good match from an offensive standpoint. Completed the most dribbles on the night, created the most chances on the night. He had 100% pass completion. He did win the most duels as well, so he was really getting stuck. And I do like that from Ahmad. Higher up the pitch, he does a really good job of winning that ball back in advanced positions. We've seen him do that many, many, many times. The hat trick he got against Southampton last season had a lot to do with him just haranguing the defenders and just getting a toe in there, winning that ball, and then just continuing. He did that a couple times tonight too, man. Did a good job. He's not the quickest, especially when he's got to sprint back, but it is what it is. And he also completed 2 out of 2 tackles. So Ahmad quietly had a very good game. You could tell that he's not a right back, it's not his fault. So I'm not going to pull him up on that. Mbumo, he bagged that early assist. I think it was 8 minutes in, right? Šeško's goal. Completed 3 out of 3 crosses, but I did think later on as the match went on, he did struggle to kind of get a little bit involved. He does well to hold up. He does well to be an outlet. It's just after that, it seems to struggle to impact the game. He misplaced a couple of easy shots. You can start to see him getting a little frustrated later on, so it's not surprising that he got hooked. It's not like you're being punished. It's just, you know what? It is. Let's let someone else get in here and just do what we need to do, man. You've earned it. Go hang out and rest for a little bit. Don't think really anybody was bad aside from Diogo Dalot. I thought he was our worst player on the night, to be honest. He just doesn't really do anything. There were a couple of times, so he's playing left back, and he's a couple of times where he's receiving the ball, and it's like, you're 26 years old. Your body position is all wrong to receive that ball on the left-hand side. Your first touch is all wrong to receive that ball. He's trying to control that ball, that pass to his left-hand side. He's trying to control that with the outside of his right foot, which just completely kills any sort of momentum because it puts it right back to where it came from. And then he's got to go get it, and then that allows the opposition time to come and press him. And we tend to struggle to get out of that situation because Dalot is just not good in 1v1s. His final ball has never improved. Again, we saw that tonight. His final ball was garbage. I just thought a lot of our tackles really started to fizzle out because of him. He's either fumbling the first touch, failing to beat his man in a 1v1, or again, that final ball. I definitely need us to upgrade on Dalot. Because Dorgu's still 20, and so I'm not saying we can hang our hat on Dorgu's performances week in, week out. I think he'll get very, very good as well, but we need to do better than Dalot because he's not good. Dorgu came on and immediately just looked so much better on the ball, more physical, able to beat his man. He had a couple of really good dribbles at time. He's confident in himself. He's energetic. If Dorgu can just work on his crossing a little bit, he will be an immense player for us. Arguably one of our best left backs in a while. All he has to do is work on that crossing because, again, he's still trying a little too hard to pick out a teammate rather than just put that ball into space. And that's why the ball is behind his teammates. Cunha went for the scorpion kick, but that ball is behind because Dorgu just took an extra touch, probably carried it about 5 yards further than he needed to when he needed to just whip in an early cross into space. Put it in that corridor of uncertainty. The keeper can't really do anything about it. It's behind the defenders, and you've got a couple of attackers bombing into that box. Let them deal with it. Your job is not to put it on a sixpence form. Your job is to put it in the box. Let the attackers deal with it. That's all he had to do. He did the hard work, but he's overcomplicating it at the end by just trying a little too hard. So I applaud the effort, but I need him to just work on that because he can really be a difference maker for us. Whew, I'm going to take a breath here and get some water. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe. check those memberships and go check out the UVE store. Get yourself a Fergie Time mug. These things are awesome. I love this. You guys see me drink from that every single week. So Cunha did well when he came on. Obviously, a lot of talk, like I said. Why isn't he starting? Like, he's been dropped. He's not because he was bad. It's just we have to rotate. But again, he did try a little too hard, I thought, to do everything himself. I think there were opportunities where, yes, he did a lot of the hard work to carry the ball into the box, but then there were a lot of options to pass it, and he kind of like just wanted to carry it and take the shot himself. Like, there was a time where he did that. Ball fizzled a little wide, but Mainu was like wide open. All he had to do was kind of lay that off to Mainu, and Mainu probably could have taken a better shot. But it is what I get it. Cunha wants to score. He's coming off the bench. He wants to get involved. Plus, a lot of times players, when they do make those long busting runs themselves and they beat a couple of opposition players, they are going to want to finish the move themselves. Like, I get it. He's got to learn to see that kind of stuff, that kind of tunnel vision. And I'm not trying to write him off. I'm just using an example. That kind of tunnel vision is exactly the kind of stuff that, saw Garnacho and Rashford kind of get pushed out. You've got to be able to get your head up, see the bigger picture, and sometimes play the ball in, not be the guy to score, just lay it off. It's not that hard. I thought Mainu looked like he was really trying to get more involved in the physical battles, the 1v1s. You can tell he's not 100% comfortable with that role, that more pressing defensive role. But you can tell he's trying, and that's all I need him to do is just try. So what we got saying here in the chat. Rob says Dalla was poor. Yeah, he was awful. Becky says Maitland Mount looks ace. Yeah, Mount has had an excellent game. Again, get your thoughts in on man of the match. Members, use that man of the match emoji. Let me know as we go along. It could be a toss-up right now for a lot of players. I thought Shesko was very good. Mount was very good. Yoro was very good. Ahmad quietly had a very, very good match as well. Tobias says Cunha and Ahmad. If you look at the numbers, again, Ahmad's numbers are very, very good. Again, most dribbles completed, most chances created, 100% pass completion, 2 out of 2 tackles. He won the most duels as well. Ahmad's night was a very good night. Plus, you got to remember, he's just coming back from losing a family member the other week. That's why he didn't play last time out. So, Tabasi thinks we need a tall CB. Have you been hanging out with Graham Souness and Jamie Carragher? We have Licha. He will be fine. We've got 3 center backs. If we can't defend a ball into the box with an extra center back than anyone else has on the pitch, then we've got problems, man. Let's see. So, get your guys' thoughts in. Get your man of the match votes in as well. I got 3 thoughts. You guys know I always got 3 thoughts. Starting with Sunderland's debut. If you caught the preview stream, anybody's watched that, I said that if I saw Bayindir starting this one, I might not even watch. I said it again in the United vs. Everybody WhatsApp group this morning. Again, starting 11 Legends members. Go check that community post. You do have access to the WhatsApp group. Rob Taff and I have been chatting in there. Big up, Rob. But I said it again this morning. If I see Bayindir in the starting 11, I'm not even going to watch this match. But my fears were allayed when I saw that it was finally about 2 months overdue for Sunderland's debut. What did you make of his first match in a United shirt? 3 saves on the night. We didn't really have a whole lot to do. But what I noticed most from Sunderland's was his command of the area. I mean, he was constantly vocal. He looked comfortable coming off his line, claiming the ball. He looked comfortable grabbing those crosses, those balls into the box. Remember, he was like top 1% in Europe's top 5 leagues last season for crosses claimed. He just looks like he's so comfortable with that. There was that late chance that Sunderland got when he came out, rushed off his line, closed down the angles, made himself big, and he blocked that shot. Just kept, again, doing what he needs to do to preserve that clean sheet, keep us out of danger. When was the last time we saw that? I think the last time I saw any of our keepers come off their line like that is when we conceded that OG against Ipswich Town. Remember that? When Onana came rushing off of it, and the ball just scooted right past him from Dorgu, because why is Onana doing that? Lammens he just looks like he just gets it. Like, he just knows, like, nope, this is what I have to do, and this is what I'm going to do, and that's just my job. That's what I'm going to do. Coming off his line, and Dylan texted me during the game, and during that he said, we haven't seen that in years. And I totally agree. Like, we haven't seen that in years. Even from De Gea. Like, I'm not trying to bash De Gea, but that just wasn't De Gea's game. Dylan also mentioned, and you guys can share your thoughts on this, how much calmer he thought our defenders looked tonight. Is that down to Sunderland? Is it? I mean, we've talked about that O principle in the past. Maybe this is the reverse side of that O principle when you've got someone's positive characteristics, how they can positively impact. Defenders can be a little less 1 foot in, 1 foot out, two minds situation, not always having to worry because they've got a keeper who will do that stuff for them, who will control that area. You guys let me know. He was man of the match on FootMob, Sunderland. Was he your man of the match tonight? Is it too soon? Let me know what you thought. I guess, again, it was just so nice to have a competent keeper. I don't know why it took so long for him to get a start, but I mean, I'm not going to complain at all because he was an absolute force of nature tonight back there in that box, and I am so glad he got a start. I'm still just so glad that we signed him. What are you guys saying here in the chat? Rob says, I thought it was smart taking off Mount. I also saw Mount disagreeing with Bruno. Tells him no. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I think players are going to disagree all the time. Mo Salah was getting pelters from his teammates for the early goal that Chelsea conceded, or maybe it was an early chance that Chelsea scored, because and you saw Mo Salah over and over again, he get beat too easily trying to put in that initial press, and then just jogs. He's pulling a Rashford, he's pulling a Garnacho. Like, I get you're Mo Salah, but you're on 2 goals in the season right now, man. Maybe do better. Is he pulling a full-on Rashford where he got that contract and now he's like, nah, I'm good? Like, can't do that. You cannot do that, man. Debasi says, debut clean sheet versus Bayern, who has not got one. Clean sheet against weaker teams. Yeah, a clean sheet's clean sheet. I'm going to take it. I'm absolutely going to take it. Rob says, unless he plays in a World Cup final, making his debut at Old Trafford will be the most nervous he's ever felt. Quality mentality. And we said that going into this. We talked about the guy who used to work at Royal Antwerp, who used to basically be the in-between guy for United and Antwerp when we were doing a lot of loans and stuff. He sat down and did an interview and basically said, this kid, Sonny Lamans, he's focused. He doesn't buckle under pressure. He knows how to win that mental game. And that's a big issue that we've had in the squad. That calmness, that control, that quiet control, right? That quiet strength, that is going to have a ripple effect through the rest of the squad. Dylan kind of felt like it had a ripple effect already in our defenders, positively speaking. And I agree. I think it's when you've got a competent keeper behind you as a defender, you're going to feel very, very good. And I like that. I definitely like that. Tabasi says, have to see Lamans against Liverpool. I think you will. If he doesn't start against Liverpool, then that's a stupid decision from Amorim, in my opinion. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So hold on. Let me get this back up here, up and running here. Hold up. There we go. So yeah, get your thoughts in on Lemons. Would we have kept a clean sheet if Bayern had started? You guys let me know. I think the number 1 spot is his to lose, but let me know, and we'll move on to number 2. Thought number 2, has Šeško arrived? Let's chat about Benjamin Šeško for a second, because there were some positives. There were some negatives. On the one hand, like the positive side, it's 2 goals in 2 consecutive matches from him, both of which came from inside the box, right where you want him, just kind of cleaning it up, grabbing onto that loose ball, and just lashing it home. That's what you want from the dude. The same was kind of what we see from McTominay a little bit. You just want him to cause problems in there. He's big. He'll win a lot of those headers. But again, 2 goals, 2 matches in a row. He's on the same number of goals as Mo Salah already. So again, we'll see what happens. And he scored with his only shot of the night as well, Šeško. And so shot conversion is, boom, tops right now. On the other hand, he does really need to work on his physicality. He's a big guy. He's a tall guy. It's surprising to me how many of these duels he's losing, even aerial duels. If he wants to be a top striker in the Premier League, he's going to have to work on that physicality. He lost the most duels on the night. He only won 9 of 25 duels, and that can't be happening. That just cannot be happening, in my opinion. Sorry, my computer's messing up here. There we go. For such a tall guy, his aerial duels were just not good on the night. He completed also just 1 dribble out of 4 attempts. So again, I need him to do a little bit better. Now, he does claim, Šeško, after the match he was spoken to, he does claim this is just a taste of what we can see, a trailer, if you will. He said there's still loads to come, definitely. I'm still getting used to it more and more, to read the players, to connect with them even more. I believe I can be even better, and I will try to show it. So I like that he's embracing it. Of course, he's not saying anything we haven't seen players say in the past, especially new signing. I think what I really like too, he also said in his interview that doing his leap at Old Trafford was something that he's always dreamed of. It's like a dream come true. So it's everybody's dream come true to come to Old Trafford and celebrate scoring a goal, right? I mean, can you believe that? That's probably one of the highlights of his career right there, is scoring a match winner at Old Trafford, like for United. Like, come on, that's like top like bucket list stuff for players right now. Um, so I do like what I see. Debasi says his Shesko will improve, definitely. I think he will. I like what I see so far. Like you guys know, I'm not gonna try to hypocrisize myself. He wasn't my first choice in the summer. It is what it is. I'm not gonna go back and say like I always knew he was gonna be. He wasn't my first choice. Had nothing to do with I thought he was crap. I didn't think he was as good as some of the options, and I didn't think he was worth what we paid. That's the only reasons. But I'm always going to celebrate. I'm always going to back the players no matter what. I'm not the kind of person who's going to be like, I didn't want this player, so I'm not going to celebrate. We're always going to celebrate. That's why we are where we are. I'm not going to be toxic about it. Rob says conditions were dreadful there today as well. Yeah, I saw it was the rain, man. The rain was pissing down, man. It's funny. It's only rained like once when I've been there. I've been there 3 times now. It's only rained the one time. Really bad snow the first night I was there. Justin and I got there. It was like March, Europa League nights, late kickoff. It was like an 8 p.m. kickoff. Real Betis. If you guys go back and watch the highlights from that, go on YouTube one time and watch the highlights of the Real Betis match at Old Trafford and watch the snow. That's what the crap was, what we had to deal with. It was rough that night. And that was our first trip, so we weren't quite used to everything. Our hotel was on the opposite side of the water, the channel. So we had a little bit of a walk to get back to the hotel. It was like sideways snow. It felt like just 100 daggers stabbing you in the face. It was not great. What do you guys make of the high boot and the VAR check on Shesko? Did he get away with one? Do you not even think it was really a high boot? What constitutes a high boot? We had a fun little discussion around this. Bill, his brother Brad, and I had a fun little discussion on what constitutes a foul, what constitutes dangerous play, what constitutes a high foot. Because the contact, you could argue that there was contact, but the contact wasn't really the boot from a law of the game standpoint. Like, if we're gonna call handballs below the sleeve, I think you need to call high boots like above the shorts hem or something, because Shesko, yeah, there was a little bit of contact with the player's like side, but it was like Shesko's thigh. His head wasn't really anywhere near the boot. The only thing that hit the player in the head was the ball, but the player didn't see that because he already had his eyes closed. He was already trying to go down and draw the penalty, so the ball smashed him in the face. Nobody won the ball, so both players are kind of shit in that regard. But I don't think it was a high boot, and I'm glad that it was chalked off. If we start giving penalties for shit like that, then it's just you're not allowed to do anything anymore in the game. Like what? We can't let the game get that soft. We can't award that kind of stuff. I'm glad to see some calls today around the grounds and just on other matches too for simulation and whatnot, because the only way to get rid of simulation is to start calling it on a consistent basis. And so I'm happy to see it. Not related to this, but it was just an example of that. So let's see. Debasi says he does not think it was a penalty. Interesting. I don't think it was a penalty, so I'm right there with you. Richard, welcome back. Richard says weather was terrible today, but still glad I was there. Oh, you're there? Nice. It looked like it was pissing down a little bit. Like I was saying, it only rained once when I've been there, and my seat happened to be right underneath the leak in the roof, and so I got leaked on the whole match. I think it was a Crystal Palace match. I just sat there and got rained on, so it was awesome. Rob says he'll do a lot better than Newcastle's new John. Oh, Woltemata looks pretty good. It looks like he slotted right in. Obviously, he had a really good week this past week. Woltemata scored in the league, scored in Champions League. His tattoos are weird looking. Like, it's one thing to see like sleeve tattoo. He's just got like random tattoos kind of all over his arm. There's no really like overall composition to it. It's just like, I want this little tattoo, we'll throw that on there. Like, they're not even like in line or anything. They're just kind of all around. Like, I've got tats and they're lined up and stuff. So it is what it is, but it is what it is, man. So, but yeah, do you think it was a pen? Do you think it was a high boot? Are you happy it got chalked off? But overall, like I said, with Shesko, a little bit of a mixed bag, I thought. But I overall thought he was fine. He looked good. He's looking better and better. And I think that's important. But let me know what you think we should expect from him goals-wise this season, because Rasmus Højlund in his first season, did better than I thought he was going to do. Really better than he had any right to do in his first season, Højlund. Obviously, last season was a bit of a write-off, but what do you think we can expect to see from Højlund this season? What would be your expectation? How many goals, how many, do you think he should get? 10? Is that too low? 15? I think between like 12 and 15 is probably realistic for a player in his first year in the Premier League, young striker, especially with the whole kind of jumbled mess that we are right now and the struggles we're having. Plus, he's got two players behind him in 10s who probably their first thought is not always going to be to find him. And so I would say between 10 and 15, I'd probably push it between 12 and 15 would probably be what I would expect for the remainder of the season. He's got 32, 31 matches left. He should very easily get one at least. I think minimum he should be able to get 10 from that. But what are you guys saying here? How you guys doing? You guys are chatting. Big up. Go ahead and chat. So let me know how many goals you think we should expect to see from Šeško. What would you demand? What would be your bare minimum? And we will move from there. Moving on to number 3. Let's talk about this Mason Mount conundrum that we have going on here at this club, because Mason Mount had a great match. He had a great match. He started in that left-hand position, taking over for Cunha. And Mason Mount, he wasted very little time in justifying that selection, if you want to be honest about it. He got involved really, really early on. Let me move this over. There we go. Scored just 8 minutes into the match with a wonderful control, wonderful touch on that ball in from Mbeumo, then just a simple low-driven shot that just found the back of the net. One touch and then shoot. One touch and then shoot. It's super simple. I don't know why more strikers can't do that. He strikes the ball better than a lot of strikers. One touch, get the ball out of your feet, take the shot. It's not that difficult. It's not the first time we've seen him do that. He did that in the Europa League last year too. Simple shot, turned it into space, and then one touch, he just shoots it. It reminded us of what Mason Mount can do when he's fit, but that's kind of what I mean by the conundrum, is that he's rarely fit. So the conundrum is, what do we do with him? Do we just stick with him and just play him here and there and manage his minutes? Do we just play him when he's fit? Like, let's say hypothetically Mount is fit the rest of the season. Like, does he start? Where does he play when he does start? I think personally he has enough in him physically. He has the pace, and I think he does have the press resistance at times. I think he could play in a deeper role if we needed him to, like if he wanted to put Bruno in a 10 and maybe drop Mount back. I think we could get away with that. Do you just want to see him as one of the 10s? I don't want to see him at left wing back anymore, like we saw the other day. Does he start over anybody else who's fit right now if he's fully fit the rest of the thing? Or would you still just sell him and maybe hope that he continues to do well and maybe we can recoup a little bit more money from him than what we paid? Like I said, it's a conundrum. What would you guys do with that? Let me get involved. Rob says, I like a striker who nicks goals here and there. Shows they have the thought to be in the right place. Yeah, that's a good factor, or a good feature of Šeško. He just seems to be in the right place in that box. And he's pretty good on the ball, too. I like what I see from him. He's quicker than I thought, but he needs to just do a little better on the ball. They were kind of double marking him a little bit. It made it really, really difficult. There were times where we were kind of just trying to hoof it to him a little bit, which I think we needed to just vary things up a little. We struggled to build out from the back. We kept just trying to hoof it. We need to do a little better with that, personally. I think it looked like we were trying to avoid the battle in midfield to try to get it up and then try to just, even if we didn't win it, it looked like we were just trying to win that second ball, trying to keep them from building out a little bit. It was like, just get it down there and then everybody swarm and we'll just win it back and we'll try to take a shot. That's kind of what it felt like. It didn't feel like we kind of backed ourselves to play out, but Tobias says 12 to 15 goals probably is impressive. So you think it's impressive if Šeško gets that? I think he could easily get 10 more goals personally, but Richard says the only thing that concerns me slightly, someone said that Amorim said that Lamond was a matter of rotation. I hope he doesn't drop him. I haven't seen Amorim mention that he's rotation. Amorim kind of mentioned, it's a new league. He's got to get kind of up to it and stuff, which I guess it makes sense. But with keepers, I kind of look at them a little differently. I don't think it's that difficult to be a keeper, no matter where you go. The only thing that would make being a keeper more difficult is if the system. If are you charged with building out from the back? Or are you just allowed to hoof it long? I think that if you've got a keeper who's not good on the ball, that could be a little bit of a learning curve personally. But I'm not gonna freak out about it. Rob says, I like how he gets involved with the midfield too. It's an intelligent and experienced player. Yeah, Mount's good. He's very good. We saw in the Europa League. It's going to be, Rob says, the rotation quote. Yeah, I didn't see that part of it, so someone can let me know the specifics of what Amorim said about rotation. Usually these games, if I'm at like someone's house, like today I was at Bill's, I'm not like usually interacting with a whole lot. I'm just watching the game. So, but Mount can be a little bit of a conundrum for us simply because what do we do if he stays fit, and how long will he stay fit? He's a great, great asset if he's fit. It's good to have that competition for spaces in the 10. Like maybe he takes over for Mbumo next time, and Cunha is like, who knows? Maybe we put Bruno in the 10 next time and give Mbumo a little bit of rest, and we drop Mount deep to see what he can do there. Amorim has said he can play in a deeper role, and so it's anyone's guess. I like having a little bit of versatility again with Mason Mount, though. Kind of like Luke Shaw, you just never know how long you have him for, and that's the conundrum. What do you do with it? So interesting stuff. But yeah, let me know who your man of the match was. Don't forget to vote too in that poll while we're live too. You guys can go check that out. Glasner's still winning, so I haven't checked it since we've been live, but Glasner's still winning. But this is 3 home wins on the trot. I didn't even realize that. This is 3 wins at home in a row. And this result shoots us back into the top half of the table as we head into the break. We are now on 9th place, 10 points, still a negative goal differential because that's just the way we roll these days. We are level on points with Man City, but hey, they're not in crisis, right? We are just 1 point behind Chelsea right now as well, despite their win. So if they had lost, we'd have been ahead of Chelsea. And then we get Liverpool next. It's so strange that we have City and Liverpool after these first 2 breaks. We remember City were struggling ahead of that first international break, and then we had them immediately after, and we got pounced on. Liverpool is struggling as they head into this international break, and we got them right after it's done. So it's like we keep gifting these teams chances to bounce back from poor form, and I'm not happy with it. But hey, City handled us. Do you think we have a chance against the Scousers? I mean, they are a bit shit right now. 3 losses on the row. Wirtz has been a bit shit. I'm not sure if you guys are watching that match, but I watched that match earlier. Someone want to tell me what in the actual hell Virgil van Dijk is doing here. Like, what is happening all? Like, what is Van Dijk doing? I told you that they might struggle when Slot started to implement his tactics. I told you this. It's a discussion for another day, perhaps. But they do look worse. They don't look great. Frimpong can't get a minute. Wirtz has been shit. Ekitike is coming off and on. Isak didn't really do anything today either. Salah not having a good match. Van Dijk doing Van Dijk things. People don't realize Virgil van Dijk does this all the time. He just does this. He's such a coward when it comes to defending. I cannot believe there are people who will call him the best defender in the Premier League. He is literally not even the best Dutch defender the Premier League has ever seen. He's been in here, 10 years? Yatstam is still better than him by a mile. Vidic is the best there's ever been in the Premier League when it comes to center backs, and it's not even close. It's Vidic, and then it's like 1,000 spaces, and then you can start having conversations about like Rio and stuff. Vidic is the best. Van Dijk is not even in top 10 in my opinion. Let's see. Rob is voting for De Ligt as man of the match. Save this one. Dallo and Shaw look clueless to pass across goal. Rob says Scousers brought in defenders. Salah on the slide. Yeah, Mo Salah is having a garbage start to the season. By his standards, he's absolute garbage. Richard says Liverpool not like today's result against Chelsea. They probably won't like their result against Palace. They probably won't like their result against Galatasaray. This is 3 losses in a row for them. They're garbage this season. They started off bright, and then they're just letting it slip through their fingers, and Slot's starting to get found out. You won't hear about it, though. The media won't call them in crisis. The media won't question it, even though they've got all these players who are Premier League winners, Champions League winners, and they still look like shit. Again, what is Virgil van Dijk doing? He's literally out here, just my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Like this, he's done this over and over again. and nobody wants to talk about it, man. It's so dumb, dude. Um, I'm not so on the result. Listen, I'm not gonna say everything's fine. I'm not gonna say that we've turned a corner. It's all bunnies and flowers. The midfield is still vulnerable. We look better today, not perfect. We're still vulnerable, and we still struggle to play out from the back. But we're gonna celebrate 3 points because if you can't celebrate a wins, then I mean, what the hell is football for you in your life? And it means we get to enjoy the rest of our weekend, not like last weekend. But Amorim really needed this result. And a clean sheet does feel good. I love a clean sheet. It's such a chef's kiss, like cherry on top of the cake kind of a moment. I don't think Amorim is under any less pressure as a result. This is a kind of match you expected to win. This is the kind of match he needed to win. It's sad that we're talking about that for Sunderland, but it is what it is. But again, his job is now to figure out what went well, what didn't, and somehow continue doing the things that we did well and try to cut out the things that we're not doing well, maintain this standard, and even get to the next level ahead of Liverpool because you have to. And then do it in the next game, and then do it in the next game. It's called management. It's also a verb. It's not just a title. Same as parent, right? But still, I enjoyed watching us today. It never felt like maybe we were out of control. There were a couple of little moments later on, but Sunderland's just helped us out. Luke Shaw popping up in the right places, helping us out. Euro doing his thing, just doing Euro things. So aside from a couple individual errors in here and there and a couple of poor performances, Dallo, I hope to see more of this against tougher opposition. Because yes, it was Sunderland, but I'm not gonna sneeze at the fact that it was 3 points. Big up, Warzo. How you doing, man? 3 losses in a row. Good job. They're playing us next. Yeah, we just seem to do that. We did the same exact thing with City, if you remember that, after the international break. Rob says, I don't want any of these big guns winning the league. We need another Leicester style. Dude, if Crystal Palace go and win it, and then we snag Oliver Glasner from them at the end of the season, that would be kind of fun. Bexy says Palace could be the dark horses. Yeah, I think Palace have an honest to God shot. So Richard says, yes, let's take the win. I'm always going to celebrate 3 points. There are some toxic people out here who I'm not going to name names. You guys probably know if you've been watching YouTube for a while. There are United fans who will not be happy that we win. There are United fans who will celebrate when we concede goals because they want managers sacked. I don't want anybody sacked. I want Amorim to do better. But if he doesn't continue to improve and like today, picking the better player in goal, he will get himself sacked. It's just the way it is. And so it's not my job to tell him what to do. It's not my job to say I'm in or out. It's just he knows what he has to do. Players know what they have to do. Let's do it. But to want us to lose, to cheer when we concede a goal, it's just weird. You guys will never hear me do that kind of stuff. So Tabasi says Van Dijk being the best defender is like saying Ramos and Pepe never were put. Yeah. Van Dijk is not even top 10 in my Premier League defenders. Like, he's just not. He's just not. Like, that's just the way it is, dude. Bexy says around the pitch, Palace have quality. They do have some good players, and they keep losing their best players. It's up in the air right now what happens with Glasner. His contract is up at the end of the season. And he's basically told them, I need to see more from you from the board. Like, stop selling my best players, bring in some better players. You can't just keep selling everybody and not strengthening. I guarantee if Gahey were to go in January, for instance, kind of like what Liverpool did with Van Dijk when he was still at Southampton, I guarantee Glasner just says, no, I'm not staying. He's a lot of people's pick. Like I said, if you go to the poll that's pinned at the top of the chat and go vote for one of the 8 options that we did a deep dive on the other day. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it. It's pretty cool. But Glasner is winning, but you can have your say if you have other options. I think it's Glasner and then like Xavi is the next one. Nobody's voted for anybody else yet. So go get involved, share that link, get involved, you guys. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check the memberships as well. It's the best way to get involved in the content. And like I said, recently we also opened a WhatsApp group for Starting 11 and Legends members. If you go to the community tab on the YouTube channel page, there is a link there. It takes you straight. Rob Tapp's been in there for the last day or so. We've been chatting. It's a fun way to have discussions when we're not doing live as well. So go check that out. And then go check out the UVE store. Let me check the chat one more time before I let you guys get out of here. Richard says, and don't forget when Martinez comes back. Yeah, when we really miss Licha, we miss his mentality, I think, most of all. He's so good on the ball. He's got mentality. He's got a good pass on him. Like, when he comes back, we're going to look 100 times better, I think. So the question is if he can just stay fit. As we've been doing, like when Dylan and I rated the transfer when we gave our season predictions, I didn't even have Leach as part of the squad yet because I need to see if he can stay fit. this recent ACL issue is the kind of issue that does tend to pop up after you've been out of game for a very long time because of the other issues. People who call Leach injury prone, I don't get, because those first two big injuries were contact injuries. It's not his fault. That's nothing to happen. Now, the ACL stuff, that and other things can become injury proneness, but they are a direct result of those first two contact injuries. And so he needs to just find, and there's nothing he can do about it, really. We just need to hope he can stay fit. Bexy says, if Lamage has a screamer against Liverpool, I can see us definitely getting a draw. Don't rule out a draw. Amorim did get a draw against the Scousers last season as well, but we just don't look really great right now. Now, again, we can say Liverpool don't look great either, but we said that about City as well, and look how that went. So, but thank you guys for stopping by tonight. Good to do the match reaction. I think, we like to do that sometimes same day. Usually I don't, but like I said, anniversary tomorrow. So I'm going to spend some time with the wife and just chill and kind of focus on that tomorrow. It's good to do that. Plus, she's going out of town in like a week, so it's probably better to spend some time with her anyway. But as we head into the break, keep a lookout from some scouting report specials. We might do some other fun videos as well. See what I can do about getting some guests down here. Maybe have Dylan stop by as well. But until then, you guys, take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't let anything, this is a positive weekend. Liverpool lost. We won. Clean sheet. Awesome. Love it. So thank you for stopping by, you guys. Take it easy. I will see you guys on the next one. Laters.